Hi, welcome to Chas Speaks, where I speak on things related to politics, motivation, faith, and things related to the culture. And today I have Tim with me. I am so glad to speak with him. I met him and his mom in Washington, D.C., and then I started trying to live stream them, but Facebook shut it down. So I wanted to y'all to hear his thoughts, his views. He is a 25-year-old millennium who has decided to go the conservative way. But before we get into this, if you would like, share, subscribe, share this video. And also, if you would like to support my channel, my Teespring store is going to be in the comments, in the description section, as well as my PayPal account. So, all right, Tim, let's get into this. So,
Mhm.
you and I were talking at the Washington, D.C. Brexit rally, which was excellent. And I just loved what you and your mom had to say. And y'all are very recently um, on this conservative path. I don't want to say Republican because a lot of some people are just have just said, you know what, I don't want to vote for Biden. I don't want to vote for the Democrats. And you may be apolitical, independent, conservative, or whatever, but you've decided that the best way for you to go is to vote for Trump this season. So let's just start out about you told me that you voted for Obama. So let's just start there.
Yeah, I did vote for Obama his first term running, and the premise behind that was essentially, it sounds silly, but it's because he was a black man, and you know, running for as a Democratic nominee. I said to myself, well, uh, I think that's the way to go. I mean, there's no other way as a black man living here in America. I said, well, how can I vote anything but for a fellow black man? So that's how he really got my vote, as the color of his skin. And I never took a chance to really look at any of his values or what he represented. It was all just based on the color of his skin. And, going forward, in the next election, I didn't agree with his influence and his impact on the military, and how the military now pays for gender identity surgery. I feel like that's a personal choice. There was a culmination of other mishandling with the war as well. It was a culmination of things that next election I decided to go for Hillary, and the big premise for that was essentially she was a woman, she was a Clinton. I had no idea the scandals that I've come to learn now. And this year, coming up on this election, uh, I'm going for Trump 2020. The reason for that is what opened my eyes was um, it started with the lockdowns, um, the way the government just seized control. I'm friends with a lot of business owners, so I got to see the inside impact that this shutdown has really done on. People think that business owners are rich, wealthy. Oh, it's okay. They have insurance. No, these people, these people, this is their livelihood. This is their one restaurant, or and you know, once they pay out the expenses to the employees, equipment, everything, and that, unless you're, yeah, you have those that wealthy business owners that own a lot, but it took them time to get there. The average majority of America is small business owners, and the government taking away that element of choice for people. You know, I remember when police were pulling people over, asking them, you had to carry around, if you were essential personnel, you had to carry around a piece of paper from your job saying that you were essential. I mean, what is this, like some kind of martial law for a virus you know, that the death rate? I mean, it's been proven time and time again. This isn't like, I mean, you would think what was going around was the bubonic plague or something, something from World War Z or something. But it's. I mean, honestly, all these virus movies that we've made. I remember 28 Days or something like that. I mean, the way that the media is propagated, you would think people were dropping dead out here. And I've known probably over a little over a dozen people that have had it, that have had this COVID-19. The worst, it was conveyed to me. A friend of mine said it was like the flu. Had it for 4 days, no mucus, just aching body, fever. Stayed in the house. I mean, and he didn't. He was fine. Now I'm not saying people don't have an adverse reaction, but those the numbers is of the smaller percentage, and just seeing the way that the government seized control and took away a lot of people's liberties, especially from church. You know, it just really started to open my eyes. Like, you know what? I think there may be some kind of agenda here. And then following that, the riots and the loot and just spread across the country. Now, I thought that was going to be shut down because of social distancing and, got to wear a mask. But nope. I see thousands of people all huddled together, breathing on each other. Government didn't say anything. So, okay. So that just, again, furthered my whole. So now we picking and choosing when quarantine and social distancing is in effect. And from there, it really just, this year just built on 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 my reasoning for it. I've always been a conservative. I just didn't know it.
Yeah.
And now that my eyes are open, I will Trump 2020. Gonna get this country try to keep it great, make it great, keep it great. So yeah.
So you're 25 years old, and I know a lot of 25-year-olds are trying to find their way politically, trying to find their voice, trying to find their reason for their being in America or wherever they're at. Did you ever get caught up like in the Black Lives movement, whether it was before or now?
No, the Black Lives Matter movement. Um, if I recall correctly, the Black Lives Matter movement came out years ago. It wasn't just this year's movement.
No, they usually trend
Yeah.
around presidential election time.
Right. And I will say that there was one particular case, the Trayvon Martin case, that yes, that had my sympathy in that, because I mean, without getting too much into the details of that, I remember BLM used that particular incident uh, they used Trayvon as like a martyr. That particular incident I can understand, but then the whole message of BLM, Black Lives Matter, right? With that kind of name, you would think it's for the promotion of blacks. But as the movement kind of went, especially this year, I didn't see how the movement really stood for blacks. I mean, I grew up in DC, Southeast DC, which is they considered the ghetto. I've never seen. Notice how BLM. I just watched the movement of the organization. I've never seen anytime there's an incident with the police. I mean, look at anytime there's an incident with the police. Oh, there's an outcry. If it's a white police officer and a black man, oh, outcry. But the death toll of blacks since this entire movement really went out of control this year. And yeah, I see no commentary on that. I see no. Um, so I guess to answer your question, I guess a few years ago when BLM initially, when I heard of Black Lives Matter, I mean that's a slogan I can get behind. But then as time went on, especially this year, oh no, BLM does not have my support because BLM is an organization is it's all about communism, in my opinion, the way they operate, and they've even said it. If you look at the manifesto, and the three women that have founded it, they even say it. So as of this year, no, Black Lives Matter does not have my support because I see what it stands for. It's not Black Lives. They just use that as a as a as a catchy way of, if you say no, if you're against it, what, you're not for Black Lives? Well, you're a fascist. You're a nationalist. You're a racist. Call
Right.
black people racist. That's it's ridiculous. I mean, not that black skin. It's just because you don't support their organization. Oh, Black Lives don't matter to you. You're Uncle Tom. Like what? It's crazy. So BLM doesn't have my support now. Uh,
Okay, so you're in like the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. area, and you've seen the destruction that Antifa and Black Lives Matter has done to your community. Has the state government, local governments, have they said what they're going to do to kind of clean up the area, or are they just going to leave it like it is?
as far as the cleanup, so as far as actual enforcement on Antifa or BLM, uh, no, it's more of a, they just let them, honestly, they just let them block the roads. If the police don't do anything, the police just stand down and just let them do their marches, blocking up the streets. And as of recently, hasn't been too much destruction. Now, the destruction that has occurred for DC, um, for those businesses that don't have insurance, I mean, and again, destroying people's property and saying it's okay, you have insurance. Well, first of all, not every business's insurance covers riots and looting. And even if it did, it doesn't give you a right to do that. But aggression, I am not sure what the mayors or the city councils uh, resolution to that, if they're going to receive any kind of reimbursement. I have heard of lawsuits though for towards the DC government for not aiding. They felt
Mm.
that they would, again, because police were standing down, so there will probably be lawsuits towards the DC government. But again, I'm not too sure that those are just what I've heard. I'm not sure the agreement between the DC government and, as far as Maryland, I couldn't say too much. Thankfully, it's been peaceful where I live at. So.
So, okay, what do you think about like all this defund the police brutality? Where are you at on that level, on that situation?
Um, I think it's a radical, ridiculous, most absurd uh, I think I've ever heard. I mean, look at Minneapolis. Minneapolis, I've seen numerous articles time and time again of how now they're reconsidering the abolishment of the Minneapolis Police Department,
Right.
and I mean, the ridiculous notion that of this whole talk of using social workers and tackling crime by putting money into the educational system with the rehabilitation and hospitals. Come on. Let's be real here, Pete. Let's let's stop singing "Kumbaya" and let's let's be real here. A lot of crime is done. Yeah, people who honestly, I mean, first of all, no, there's no real reason anybody should be committing crime, but crime, domestics, and uh, other crimes of how, without the police is the line of defense between, I mean, utter chaos and, so who you gonna? I think it's a ridiculous idea. I don't, and most officials, government officials know that. That's why the mayor hasn't entertained. The mayor has defunded DC police. She has, but she's not going to get rid of, because the mayor's house is constantly surrounded by officers every single day. Who's she going to have to protect? So I don't believe the police are the problem. Yes, they're in any profession. Anytime, anytime you hear about a teacher involved in a child molestation, you don't see riots going on about defunding teachers, or oh, teachers are bad. And even mind you, it's probably, I mean, well, without speculation, but every time you hear about, there's bad people in every profession, and we catch those, and we try to mitigate. Defunding the police is not going to mitigate. I mean, I don't see how that's going to mitigate corrupt officers. If anything, it's just going to limit resources officers have to work with. Nobody's going to want to be doing the law enforcement career, so people are going to leave in droves. And eventually, it's going to become a high demand job. And with any high demand job, the pays are going to have to go up, and everything. So I really don't see where the logic is with that. I think it's silly, and I don't think it'll get any real traction. Right now, yeah, it's a hot thing, but in the long run, you can't operate a society without some kind of enforcement. Even thousands of years ago, they had guards. I mean, walking around the city. I mean, so I think it's a ridiculous notion. I don't think it's gonna prosper in the long run. So let me turn
So,
my porch off.
so was it hard for you to come out as a conservative?
Um, it was it was I was I wouldn't say hard. It was very I was a bit hesitant. I was a bit reluctant when I first realized that, what, I like Trump. I like what he's been standing for. I should have voted for him before. When I started thinking with that mindset, um, I kept it to myself, because remember, I most of my friends, the people I'm surrounded with, are Democrats,
Mm-hmm.
Democratic and liberal, and it wouldn't be taken kindly, especially as a Black Latino. That definitely, it is like, oh, you a traitor, you know. But I'm just not a shy person, and so eventually I said, like, I kept seeing conservative posts and stuff from, following conservative pages, and I was like, I want to share that, or
Right.
I don't want to live in hiding, I want to put stickers on my car to show, be proud of my stance. So, I mean, my person, I said, you know what, let's do it, man. And I remember I set aside a whole night, because of the uh, I knew of the feedback, the outlash that I would receive, and I would just need to, you know what, I literally went through my whole Facebook page, unfriended, like, pretty much. Well, actually, it was a good time to clean up my friends list too, people. But um, I had people unfriending me. People I had known for years.
Oh yeah.
Like, we were cool. I mean, I'm honestly, we've made memories together. I mean, we've had great convo. I'm, that night I remember I was in shock. I was like, wow, like, had I known you would have done like this over a difference of political opinion, and we would have never associated. Like, so it's just crazy how intense and radical. So coming out, it was a bit. It had its harrowing phase. Probably say for the first month, few weeks, because I lost most of contacts and people like that the first week. Because some people, they would come on social media and they would start to see my posts and be like, "Oh, hell!" So first week, and then after that, I had people who always wanted people that always wanted to argue with me, like, why would you do this? Why would you? And it's like, okay. So after a few weeks, a month after I weeded them out, or they weeded themselves out, I was left with a much smaller circle, and a
Mm-hmm.
much healthier circle, honestly. So, and I would say that to other Republicans, or conservatives, actually, really, conservatives in hiding, or it's going to be, you know, I say stay true to yourself. It's going to be intense. I mean, it's going to be intense. I mean, but I'll give you another kind of on topic example. At the time, I was briefly on a dating app, and I had a picture of me wearing my Trump hat. And whew, when I tell you, because remember, it's mostly liberal around here, man. When I tell you, the likes went down, matches went down. I got random hate messages from women. Like it was like, wow, okay, well, um, but my friend was like, yeah, you should just take that one down if you want to get any matches. I said, no, this is what it is. This is who I am. I mean, this is my support. Take it or leave it. And I eventually got off the date now because those honestly, for me, have just been a waste of time. But the point is like, hey, look, I am who I am, and it's not easy as coming out, but I mean, it's hey, I'm glad I did though. So
Well, I had a friend on Facebook kind of with a similar story as yours. There was a girl who messaged him. I don't think he was on a dating app, but he ended up telling her that, you know, he was a Trump supporter. And she was like, oh my God, you're so cute. You're too cute to be a Trump supporter.
yeah,
But
I've heard that.
because you are, I can't talk to you. And, you know, and I told him, I said, it sounds like you dodged a bullet. I mean, because
Yeah,
honestly, want to be in a relationship with someone that's going to line up with you spiritually, politically, mentally, all that kind of stuff. It just avoids issue. Like, you know, I
yeah,
think scripture that says be not unequally yoked, I think that doesn't just mean with your faith, but I also think it means with some beliefs, because there's a lot of Christians that still believe in like abortion, that God is pro-choice, or God is, you know, there's a lot of Christians that believe in things that are antithesis to the Bible. So for me, my faith and the way I vote go hand in hand, and I don't think that I could really marry someone had who thought it was okay for abortion, who thought it was, especially if they say they're a Christian. That's just my belief. I don't want to be
yeah,
arguing with someone throughout our
yeah.
marriage about things that should be, you know, it should be common with your Christian faith or with your faith. So,
There,
but yeah,
there are a
so
lot of basic, a lot of basic values that like Paul. I mean, you ever notice how there's three things you don't talk about at work: politics, religion, and sexuality. At least in my life, I've learned those are at work. Don't, but those are three things that you want to line up with the partner. Friends that aren't Trump's. I'm still friends with people who aren't Trump supporters, and we to this day we've had a great. Yeah, I came out. They kind of took it like, okay. I mean, I disagree, but there's some people who are capable of, you know, all right, and that's it. Like we don't. I mean, we agree to disagree. And we might have a convo about it here, there, but for the most part, our friendship has been maintained like nothing really different. It's amazing how others, as far as friendship, now relationship, that's a bit more intimate. You know, you're looking for a companionship that you can have deep convos with, that you can go like, you know what I'm saying, that I can go to Brexit movements with, or you can't do that. You can't do
right.
that with they're gonna look at you like, you know, and then I mean, they're not gonna want to be associated with, you know, if I want to wear my MAGA hat, if I'm matching up my red hat with my red shoes that day, they're not gonna want to be seen next to you because they don't stand for it. And so it's like it's the same concept of, again, I'm not saying, because you always have your exceptions. I'm not saying people with different political standings or people of different religious views. And I'm not saying, people, companions don't have disagreements on certain things, but the core values is really what it breaks down to in terms of if your values don't line up, anything, religion, politics, your values are not there, and that's what I really saw is that was my awakening to being a conservative is that my values never really changed. I'm still the same Tim. I'm still the same Rico that everyone. I'm still the same, and that's what a lot of my friends see. Is like, well, nothing's about me has changed. It's just I realized that a lot of what the Democratic Party stands for is I found myself going along with it just because I thought I was supposed to be a Democrat, you know? And
Yeah.
I mean, and again, it's not really about in going forward. If next election, if the conservative, if the values that the conservative or the Republican president is candidate is spouting, and if I don't agree with it, and if somehow the roles reverse, then okay, I would be a Democrat. Like if the roles reversed and the values that I have were emulated in the Democratic Party, okay, then I'm a Democrat. It's not because I'm the white man's pawn, like some people would say. It's just values, and that's really what it boils down to. Again, you have people from all walks of life that are conservative. You have, I don't know if you saw PragerU, the interview with Candace Owen and Kingface. I watch them both. I watched a lot of Kingface's old material. Completely different walks of life and personality, but both conservative. It's the values. They have similar values in terms of that, you know, believing in God, believing in hard work. These are conservative values that. Did you see what the Black History Museum put out in their brochure? Uh,
Yeah.
a lot of.
I thought it was from the back. I thought it was satire. I was like, hard work, being on time, being
I
respectful.
thought it was too.
I
I
was
thought it was a joke.
I but it was for real. I'm like, this is like the bigotry of low expectation, and
So
it's sad. And that's one of the things I love about the conservative movement, the conservative party now, because I mean, like I've been conservative for some years, and I just kept it a secret. I even, so like when I started kind of like etching out and coming out as a conservative, because I kept seeing people post stuff, and I'm like, that is not what it is. So I would post something, but I never would post that I voted for Trump. So I would just kind of like slide in, like, hit them with a little something and then just go back out. And I think if something happened, and right before we went to DC, and I think like my official coming out to tell everyone, like I would, like most of the people that are close with me know that I voted for Trump in 2016, but some of my friends didn't. And I think my official coming out was when we got the hat, and I did a live stream on Facebook, and I put the hat on, and the reaction that I got was like, "Oh my god, y'all are clowns!" Yeah, I mean, just the the streaming, and I was like, you know what? Who cares? Y'all all got something to say. I'm gonna say what I want to say too. I'm not up here robbing banks. I'm not up here doing something illegal. I'm doing something that is really positive. And I mean, it was just hate. And now, like, I'm not on the chats anymore. The friend chats. People have unfriended me. People have blocked me, and but it's all good.
right.
And those
Yeah.
people leave, you get other people come into your life, and you have like a more substantive relationship. You start talking about deeper things, and you don't have to be fake. You don't have to hide who you are, because like for years I would ride around with my Democratic friends or family or whatever, they'd be like F Trump and this and that. And I wouldn't say anything. And because you just don't want to get into it. Like, wait, you're white supremacist, or just anything like that. But now, like you said, I can be friends with people who are Democrat or agnostic or whatever. I'm not emotional like that, and I can dialogue with you. But once you start getting disrespectful, once you start calling me names, once you start trying
Yeah.
to attack me, mentally, physically, verbally, whatever, then we can't be friends. But that's not so much on the other side. They will try to shut you down. They will call you names. They will call you
Yeah.
just anything. Like, and I was telling someone that if a Biden supporter would have happened to come to Washington, D.C. just to see what was going on, he wouldn't have been met with, so he wouldn't have been killed. He wouldn't have been beaten. He wouldn't have been, we would probably have been like, well, just come see what it's about, see what you like. And if you decide to still vote for Biden, then go for it. But if we would have happened along like a BLM or Antifa or, just a Biden rally, which it'd have been like 10, 12 people, but just one of those rallies, and we had like a MAGA hat or something, we would literally, we would be in danger for our lives. And
Yeah.
that's what the hypocrisy is. I've heard of people getting fired from their jobs. I've heard of people like, did you see that one guy? He was holding a freedom rally and it was a black guy, and this Antifa dude just came up to him and sucker punched him and knocked his tooth out. And it's just the hate from, yeah, it just happened last week. It's ridiculous. It's
Yeah, it
ridiculous.
is. I mean, that's why a lot of conservatives, the silent majority, because I mean, they don't want to be attacked. I mean, they shouldn't have to be attacked. I mean, honestly, I mean, I'm a bit more brazen, so I I'm gonna be proud of what I believe in. I don't have any. I mean, I'm not a reserved individual. Like so it's like it's what it is. This is, But at the same token, I don't purposely, I don't put myself in certain situations that would, because again, I know how they are. I know how many of the liberals are. Again, not, I'm not trying to generalize, but I mean, experience of what's going on in the world and events have shown how volatile and how radical a lot of the left movement is. I mean, again, it's a lot of spoiled individuals that haven't really been living, and a lot of them don't even know what they're talking about. And
Right.
when you try to have a debate with them, it's just they just resort to violence, name calling, diverting, getting to start attacking you, and it's like they cannot have a factual conversation. They just I mean, and I get tired of it. I had one last friend that we would we would send each other stuff, um, via social media. I would send him conservative stuff. He would send me uh, liberal, you know, memes and stuff. And I do my research. I say, yo, every time we would get into debates, and then when I've clearly shown that what he's showing me is false, he just goes and name calling. Like, Tim, I cannot believe this is like what you're doing. And okay, all right, like, because again, I mean, I get tired. I give kudos to those that continue to. I just with everything about it, I don't have time to sit every day and debate, like, because a lot of them, no matter what you show them, they won't wake up. They won't.
They
They're
call it
so
or Russian or
yeah,
computer bot.
they are so just hypnotized, brainwashed, and no, you can show them everything, and they will still. And then a lot of them are voting for senile Biden because he's anything but Trump. Anything. So it's like, so okay, when you say that you're basing your vote solely just to spite an individual. So your vote for the country's future is just based in hate. Like that's what you're basically saying. Just to spite Trump. Even the other person could be Satan himself, anybody but Trump. Wow, wow. Okay, that says a lot.
I heard someone say that they would vote for Satan over Trump. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, that's,
you're
yeah.
crazy.
That I guarantee that's what I'm saying. It could be Satan as the other candidate. Any they'll literally put Satan's name down and be like anybody but Trump. Wow. Okay. Even
Yes.
though the man hasn't, I mean, you would think Trump did something to them personally. Maybe was I don't know. Was Trump like the way they hate this man? It's like
Well,
because
you
the
know,
media.
and the powers that be, that I think that he has some secrets on him. I think that they know if he gets a second term, that some stuff is going to go down. So they have to get everyone to hate him. I mean, I have literally shown a video of Joe Biden comparing kids to black kids to roaches, and seeing that that's when he went to this black swimming pool. That's where he learned about kids jumping up and down in his lap, and he liked kids jumping in his lap. And the person was like, "That's not him. That's not." I'm like, "What?" So
They'll
some people,
do.
I just, some people respond on my posts, and I just don't even respond. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I was waiting for you to show up, and I just ignore them, because there's nothing you can say or do is going to make them think any different. It's
Yeah.
and it's I tell them, I said, I told one guy, I said, you're exhausting. I just it's not even a point of even having a conversation, because you're not going to listen, you're not going to look, you're on a constant drip of CNN and the legacy media, and you don't want the truth. You just want to believe what you want to believe. So yeah, sometimes you just have to walk away.
Yeah. That I mean, if they were actually receptive, to information and having a civilized debate, without escalating into some, rampage or like, and then okay, depending on who it was, we can sit down and okay, let's go. They'll ask me why you voting for Trump. Go through my whole list of reasons, and then I'll reverse the question. Why are you voting? Why are you voting for someone? But they're not. They're not like that. The left is the left. That's why never, I could never date a leftist woman, because that would just not, it just wouldn't. Oh my God, it just would. It just wouldn't. It wouldn't pan out. The values are not the same. The mindset, the mentality is just not. So I mean, yeah, I mean, so it just all boils down to values, really. On
It's not
why
even. Yeah, I mean, I do think Trump is a funny guy. I think that he's
mm,
hysterical. I
it's very
love
candid.
Iran, that if you F with America, then you're going to regret it, and we're going to put more hurt on you than you've ever experienced. And I want a leader like that, that's going to put fear into foreign dictators and leaders who chant death to America. But I also know that Trump is not the Messiah coming on Air Force One. I know that he's not some type of moral person I would look for, my faith and all that kind of stuff. And but I like his policies. I like his policies, and I like him. He's not perfect. None of us are perfect. He said some dumb stuff that, I'm like, God, just stop it. But at the end of the day, I told this person, I said, at the end of the day, the good of Trump outweighs the bad, and the bad outweighs Joe Biden. So wrapping up, what would you tell someone in around your age about voting? Because I know early voting has started, but in what, a week and a half, we have official voting. What would you tell someone that's listening, that's around your age, about voting and how to, select their vote? Not really telling them who to vote for, but what you did to go on to decide to vote for who you voted for.
The first, if I was if I was doing a reach out to peers, my first for myself, conveying to them, I would say first of all, figure out who you are. What are your, because again, we're all different people. If your values are liberal, if your values are, whatever your values are, a lot of people just go with the masses. They never really ask themselves, well, what do you stand for? What do you believe in? What do you what where because who you vote for can have an impact on really where this country goes. I mean, no matter what line of profession you're in, honestly. So the first thing I would say is, know thyself. Who are you? What are your values? And then ask yourself what would you like to see going forward for the country? What direction? Once you know your own values and where you would like to see the country go, which are the two biggest, then from there, ask yourself, do your research, because I didn't do any research. I just when I used to vote, it just do your honest and don't no not no not no CBS or CNN. No. That's filtered news. Actually do your research on what candidates have done in the past, to get it. That gives you a representation of who they are, and what they stand for, and then what they preach is, they're going to preach whatever to get voted, and then look at uh, the current of what recently are they doing, and just once you know where your own standpoint is in terms of values, to my fellow, because a lot of young people are still trying to find themselves, especially people around my age, you know. So, figure out who you are, where you want to see the country, in what direction. And once you find your values and where you want the country, just do your honest, true research on which candidate really embodies that. Don't listen to what they say. They're gonna say anything. You gotta really look at their track record, and honestly, just be thorough in figuring out who best represents. Don't get caught up in the labeling of, oh, I'm a Democrat, I have my only choices are no. Examine your options. That's how they brainwash people. Oh, these are your choices. You're a Democrat, these are your no. You can look at every candidate, see what they stand for. You'd be surprised. You may find yourself, I have a friend, he wasn't conservative. He says he's an independent now. He went from voting from the Republican Party to the independent. I mean, not that the independent really ever wins, but regardless, he finds that they best represent what he wants and what he stands for. So that's my conveyance to people of my age group, is that, don't be peer pressure. Don't go with the media. Don't go with your friends or the masses, or I mean, I'll say even your parents. No matter how close, nobody's closer to their parents than I am. But I mean, just know your values, where you want, what direction you want the country to go in, and know your candidate. And then from there, once you know those three things, I mean, I couldn't see how you couldn't make the right choice for you, whatever your values are. So that's my outreach to conveyance.
All right, Tim. So if someone wanted to reach out to you to get some more information about you, or maybe some young lady out there is like, "Ooh, he's cute," um, where can they reach you at?
They can always find me on Facebook. My Facebook is Rico Tales. They can also, my email is timval173@hotmail.com. I have an Instagram as well, which is also Rico Tail. Rico underscore Tail. It's RICO_TEO. Um, I've taken a break from it just with the workload I have in cases and assignments. Um, but yeah, those are my normal platforms. And depending on how we connect on the social media platforms, if we wanted, we could, go to texting, personal number there. So,
All right, Tim. So You're going to send me your personal information so I can put it down there. Because there may be some young men who are like, you know what, look, I've been trying to figure out how to vote, and, you're Black Latino, and, how did you come, how did you find the strength to do that? And, you just may be able to give someone else a voice. They may want to, message you privately and ask you about your journey. So send me your information and I'll put it below. Thank y'all for watching. Comment below. What do y'all think about millennials and the way they're voting? How that we can get the vote out to them. Also, please share, like, subscribe, and if you want to support my channel, I'm going to link my Teespring store as well as my PayPal account. And thank y'all so much for watching.